My name is Jose Melgar, and I am a volunteer at the chapter of the Pasco Hernando SCORE. I will be your host today, and we will be talking about some economic conversations that are creating turmoil in businesses today. I think that is a very, very current affair. Let me start with some talk about SCORE. So I want to introduce this organization to those of you that are not very familiar with it. SCORE has been around for almost 60 years now in the US, and we have been helpful to millions of business owners through all these decades of mentoring and helping them in planning and follow the plans to make their business grow. I want to repeat that the SCORE offers services free of charge. We offer mentoring, we offer webinars like this one, and assistance in planning your business. All those services will always be free of charge. We are funded in part by an agreement with the SBA. So you will never be asked to pay for this. So now let's talk about the conversation of today. So I am going to address the concern of many companies, small, big, all sizes in the US and everywhere, that are worried about a recession, a coming recession. Many people say recession is already here. Many people say that will be very soon. So this webinar, the material we are going to see, was prepared by me, and I am a mentor for 8 years now with the SCORE, and with almost 40 years of experience in business in different countries and different companies. These are the ideas I want to present and to bring to the attention. And I will focus my conversation on these points. I will talk details of what is the economic cycle. That recession is only part of the economic cycle, and explain that the economic cycle is based in 4 stages and how it affects businesses of different sizes. Then, when we talk about recession, there is a lot of chatter about that. But really, what happens? Why are we concerned about recession? I will try to go into details of that, and then that will help us to focus on what is really important. Then, what actions can be taken to protect the business to the dangers of a recession? Some people say that they are looking for businesses that are recession-proof. I will discuss the concepts why some businesses can be considered like that and some examples. But of course, talking only about what are the dangers and how to be protected is not enough. Savvy business owners are always looking for opportunities. When other people are seeing a crisis, powerful business owners should be looking for opportunities. So then I will talk about some opportunities for a start on the side, small recession type businesses, so businesses that are based on the recession, and also how to be more competitive, because that should be the center of any business person. How can I beat my competitor? How can I gain businesses away from them and improve my chances to emerge a better company when the recession is over? Some people talk about economic cycle, but I like to compare that to turbulence. When we are in a plane and suddenly the plane hits turbulence is when we are aware we are not aware before, only when we are in the middle of the bumpy flight. But we were instructed from the very beginning to tighten our seatbelts, because using the seatbelt in the moment that we are in the turmoil maybe is not helpful enough. We should be prepared. That is what we are talking today, preparation. So what good is to know about problems in the economy if we don't discuss how to be prepared? So the purpose of all this conversation is preparation. How to have a better business than the others. What I want to repeat and to stress here is that turbulence is part of nature. Turbulence is part of flight. Same way, recessions are natural part of doing businesses. There always will be recessions. The US government has been tracking recession since 165 years ago. In 1854, they started to track those downturns, and that happens. So the economy goes down and goes up and goes down and goes up. So what is the message here? That eventually all recessions come to an end. So it's better that in that moment, my business is prepared to take the opportunities that go ahead and not be destroyed, because in every recession, many businesses die. So I like the comparison because when we have conversations with a pilot, they are never talking about what are the reasons for turbulence or why this turbulence is bigger than the other one. They don't care about that. They are trained to navigate the turbulence, to go to destination, even knowing that they will face turbulence many times during the flight. So the importance is to learn to navigate recession. Good business owners navigate. Then, what is a recession? There are technical descriptions of recession. So the experts say that is when the economy has been for 2 quarters with the GDP reduction. So that means that the production of the country for 2 quarters, consecutive quarters, have been lower than the previous one. However, that is not enough. There are some instances that those reductions happen even though other factors in the economy keep in good shape. So then they don't declare recession. Recession is something that is declared. That is why we only know about that when we are already 6 months in it. That is why some people discuss, are we in a recession now? But the experts say that the metrics don't show that. What are the factors that we need to consider to reach this conclusion? Is first one, labor market. The unemployment. The unemployment rate is one of the major indicators when recession is hitting, when the economy is in problem. Because that leads to affect the consumer spending, then businesses are stopping their spending and the industrial production comes to a reduction. So now the experts are saying that if we are not in a recession now, we may well be at the beginning of 2023. So in the spring of next year, there is a consensus that is 50% possibility of that. So then this is the moment to take steps to plan and to think how we can reduce the impact in our business. It's important that we understand these 4 stages and get familiar with that. The economic cycle comprises these 4 points. So the economy, as I said, goes up and goes down, goes up, goes down, and that is forever. And these 4 points are peak, when the economy has been good for several months or years, and then stops growing, but is still in good shape. There is a peak. The meaning of that is now recession is coming. When we feel that we are in a peak, we should think that in coming months, the production will start to slow down. So then there are some months of recession, of business reduction, until it reaches the bottom. That is named trough in the economy. So the good times are at the peak, bad times end at the trough. The trough could last some months. It's not one day. So the bottom of the ocean could be very wide and always start again expansion, growth again. Could be 2, 3, 4 years of expansion, and that is good. Those are good times. And then a peak again, and then recession, and then trough. So all these 4 cycles repeat over and over and over. So then recession is only one of those 4 steps. And we know that it will end. Recession will not be forever. So this brings the experience that what is important is the arrow that the economy is always growing. So the economy of the country, the economy of the world has been growing permanently in spite of these reductions. For small businesses, the problem is when the recession hits, because 8 months of stopping business could kill my business, because my business is not strong enough to survive a long time. Of course, companies like Apple, like Amazon, they can survive 2, 3 years of recession. A small business cannot do that. That is why we emphasize discussing this. How can we be prepared in order that when we are in the trough, when we hit bottom, we are still in the possibility to continue operating. So important is to keep the eye on the trend. So if we see the life of our business in 5 years, the trend should be up in spite of the downs that could be in the middle. So now that we know the recession is only a temporary portion, we can talk about recent history of recession information. There are offices in charge of that. They measure all the metrics, and they are the ones that give the information and make official what point in the economy we are. These offices have registered that since 1950, the US has been in 11 recessions. Why do I bring this information? That means that in 70 years have been 11 recessions. That is an average of every 6 years. So it happens every 6 years. Of course, it's not like a clock. Could be in 4 years, could be in 7. But in the average have been 11. In recent history, we had one recession after September 11 in 2001. So the economy stopped very ugly for 6, 7 months. There was another big one in 2006 when the oil hit $130 per barrel. So it was what they call the Great Recession. That lasted 18 months. That has been the longest in 70 years. And the shortest was 2 years ago during the pandemic, when all the economy stopped. The businesses closed for 2 months. That was very deep recession, but very short. Because after those 2 months, the businesses started to open again, not at full speed, but was already coming up. So the recession was only 2 months, even though the impact of that killed many businesses. That is why even a short recession should be reason for concern. So what happens when we are in a recession? Many factors, as I said before, come together. So sales fall, production falls, employment falls. Then this affects the businesses because unemployment leads to lower spending. People stop spending and the businesses start to see reduced sales. Reduced sales don't stop the expenses. We keep having expenses at the same level, but the sales are not coming, so the cash starts to suffer. Business depends on cash. And cash flow is what can kill a company, any company, if it gets out of cash. That is why this is the problem when sales start to come down. That is why competition starts to become fiercer. So nobody wants to be the first to die. So some business owners start to reduce spending to be too careful. Others start to be aggressive. So I would say that we should look for a balance in order to be able to take opportunities, because when other people see crisis, we should be able to see opportunities. And then we can take advantage, and when the recession ends, be in better position than we were at the beginning. All the business rests on our possibility or capability to compete. So now we can start talking what can be done to protect our business in this situation. Important thing is to plan ahead. Don't expect the turbulence to hit. It's to start preparing now. So then always start by doing cash flow planning. Prepare a cash flow projection for the following year, and then make simulations. What will happen if my sales are reduced by 10%? What will happen if they are reduced by 20%? What will happen to my expenses? What will happen to my profit? And what will happen to my cash? I will show you one example that we did when we were helping people during the pandemic. And those examples are still valid because it's the concept of how to do simulations. Since the problem is a cash flow problem, some businesses that are in good shape with good credit standing, they can negotiate lines of credit. So if you can do that, when you see that things start to get tough, start to negotiate lines of credit. That means that when there is a problem that you don't have enough volume of sales, you can access to some liquidity temporarily. What takes cash out of a business is current assets. If you have many accounts receivable, some money that you have in the hands of your clients, they are not paying on time, or they start having problems, they don't pay you on time, then that will bring you to cash flow problem. So it's important to have control how we are managing the current assets. Another big chunk of cash goes to the inventory. we cannot keep buying material in the same speed we were doing before. But we cannot have the risk to stay without material. So it's good that we start using tools to better control the inventory. Exist many tools, the ABC system, the Super ABC, ABC Plus. There are many ways to control the inventory in order to avoid buying in excess and always have material enough to comply with requirements from my clients. If we are planning to purchase a big chunk of equipment in the coming year, it's better in this simulation of cash flow, what will happen if we postpone, we don't buy that truck in March, we better buy it in October. How that will alleviate my cash flow doing that. So this is another important thing because all goes around cash conservation. Another big problem is when we depend, if my business depends of one single client. If I have a contract with one single client and that client suffers during the depression or stops, my business dies. So it's better that I am now evaluating if I can get other clients, even though not as big as the one that keeps my company running, but another source of income in case of tough times appear. Debt. If we have different sizes of debt, so pay first the highest interest, because that will be a big drag when the times are coming tough. So these are examples of what we can do to plan ahead. What I should include in my plan are these points of conversation. I was talking about scenarios. This is a tool that savvy business managers use. Is how do I do simulations? As I was saying at the beginning, we do a cash flow projection for the coming year, and we think that recession could be in March. So then this shows a drop in sales for 2-3 months. But of course, things start to go better for the rest of the year. But what happens? My expenses stay the same. I could send people home for a while, but I have to pay rent, I have to pay utilities, I have to pay many other constant expenses. That is why this line, the cash flow line, is going down, 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 because sales are not covering enough. So at the end of the year, I am in negative. I am using my savings to keep my company afloat. This means bankruptcy. So this is the scenario one, is the first exercise we do. Okay, this is considering that will be a drop in sales after the first quarter. Okay, this means do nothing, only considering what is the impact. So we don't want this to happen. We evaluate these results and we say we need to change. We need to do something. Then prepare the second scenario. If I do something, if I cut expenses, some expenses, I review and I say I can cut this and this and this, and then run it again, evaluate results, and decide, is this enough or go deep? So this ABC company that we were using as an example during the pandemic, we did this simulation with some changes that the manager recommended and said, okay, I will reduce hours in the payroll, no more overtime, and I will send some people home and so on. That will reduce my expenses. The owner said, I will stop taking my salary for 2 months because I don't want the company to die. This was an emergency decision. And then laid off one person. Had also an impact because this company had taken some funds for the emergency funds in those times. So since he was laying off people, had to repay the loan. But he said it's better to do that. And then we see that the sales are still down. And the expenses are not as bad as they were considered. So the cash now is around 0. So he depleted the cash, but he's not taking from his resources, from his reserves. So the business has a chance to survive. But now the owner says, oh, I like this game. I see that I can do even more. Then another simulation is go deeper. So using the same sales, because it's not hoping, it's not dreaming that things will go away. Is what I can do inside my business to be protected. Is more cuts, reduce more expenses, delay some other things, and then evaluate what will happen. So this was the third exercise. So this person went to the landlord and negotiated 1 month forgiveness for the rent. So the landlord said it's better to lose 1 month than losing this customer and then my building will be empty. I don't know for how many months because it's a pandemic. So it was not a good time to start thinking that the new business will come. So it's better to sacrifice 1 month. So he was able to negotiate this help and then said, you were planning to increase the rent. Now is not the time to do that. So took the increase out of the year, another reduction in the projected expenses. Went to the bank, said, I am paying you my loan, but I cannot pay all the monthly installment. So let's negotiate that I will pay only interest. That helps the bank because if this guy stops paying all, the bank has to book that as a loss. But if he's paying only interest, the bank keeps that alive in their books. So it's a win-win. I pay less and the bank doesn't lose the amount. So those negotiations have to be think ahead in order to have the better advantage. So this business had negotiated to do a trade, a fair trade in October the following year. So he said, I am not going to spend that money in that fair. I am not going to spend in traveling, sending people to go there and paying advertisement and so. Let's cancel that. So many other ideas appear during this discussion because this cannot come from one person only. This only can be from discussion. The more people are involved in this discussion, the more ideas, the more possibilities. Doesn't mean that all of them can be applied. Some could be crazy ideas, but we need every idea to discuss and to evaluate in order to save the business. And this is done before the problem happens. So with all these changes, we can see that the line for cash started to go up. So then at the end of the year, it's not going to bankruptcy. So the company has resized and has a much better chance that after this problem, the company will be gaining market. So these are things that can be done ahead to protect the business. So you don't have to start reducing people. You don't have to start canceling anything. It's just to know the list of things that can be done. So when problems start coming, there is a list that we can access and we say, okay, but I know that I can do this. I know I can do this other thing. And then I improve my chances. So now this other conversation is related to recession-proof businesses. Many people come to SCORE saying that they are interested in recession-proof businesses, that they want to know if they can start or buy businesses, what is proof, so that they are not affected when bad times come. Okay, so nothing is guaranteed in life, nothing. But there are some businesses that for now, in this decade, have better chances during a recession, are mostly what we call demographic-based business. So there is a big umbrella that helps. Why demographics? Is because now there is a big amount of baby boomers that are now 10, 15 years in retirement. So it's a big portion of the population that are now not in the productive stage, and they require services. Since all these people were active and working, so now Social Security, the government, many organizations, private insurances and so are paying for the expenses. So if I am in a business that takes care of elder people, my income is assured because will be paid by the government. So even though these people are not generating, I will keep receiving my pay. So that is why these are demographic-based businesses. Also, home improvement. So many people say, no, I am not building houses anymore because the market is not good and so. But then elder people have time available, they start projects improving their houses, but they cannot do everything. They cannot do maybe electricity, they cannot do plumbing. So they do part of the improvement, but they have to hire others. So those businesses dedicated to home improvement, they go better during recession because there is more time available and people are trying to keep their houses in better shape if they have to sell it. So home improvement is another good chance. Cleaning services. So all those elder care services require cleaning companies, require cleaning people. And businesses that serve other businesses, accounting firms, bookkeeping. So you have to present income tax declaration every year in good and bad times. So you will need tax expert every year to prepare your tax return. You will need an accountant to tell you how your business is going, and the accountant can give you good recommendations. So there is always job for the accounting firms. Car repairs, of course, I cannot buy a new car, so I need to keep it in good shape. So the shops for car repairs are good opportunities. This is the concept. Recession-proof are those that really have better opportunities when other areas of the economy are coming down. And online sales, because now you saw that during the pandemic, even restaurants started to sell online. So it grew because it reduces the cost. So the person in the house doesn't need to go out to receive the materials or the product, whatever they need. Now online sales is growing. For now, these are the ideas. As I said at the beginning, nothing is guaranteed, but these kind of businesses have better chances. So please, any comment, any question you have, you can include in the Q&A in the chat. So, and we will discuss at the end of the conversation. Now let's talk about opportunities. We have been talking only for the ugly part, but as I said at the beginning, we are fierce competitors. We are here to make our business better, to eat the lunch of my competitor, to gain businesses when others are hunkering down, when others are complaining and presenting a bad horizon, saying, oh, bad landscape, this is not going well. So good competitor is the one who sees the opportunity. And we see that there are businesses that during the pandemic did better than others. They appear stronger and more profitable than they were before because the competition was contracting. So this requires make changes to the business models. So that means not doing the same we were doing. Is what I can do different. So a restaurant starting to sell online, that is a change to the business model, because the previous model said people come to my facility, eat here. Now I send the food to them. That is a change to the business model. We need to adapt, to do things differently, to think differently, and not only to the way to distribute, can be also to products or services. And if I am trying to gain businesses away from the competition, my focus will always be customer satisfaction. Somebody who already has many suppliers, many people offering now products, will come to the one that shows that takes care of the clients better. The opportunity is there, but we need to work for it. Clients will have many choices, more than before, and only the ones that can show better performance. So in order to compete better, we need to focus on the 3 P's of competition: product, price, and performance. Those are the only 3 things that will decide how the client will look for another supplier. So if we are going to make changes to the service or to the product, should be focused on adding value. What benefit will have my customer using my product that they are not having now with my competitors? I need to think about, discuss with my people, discuss inside my company, with my workers, with members of my family, with my SCORE mentors. What things can I do to add value to my product in order to make it more attractive to the customer? Because the customer I gain will gain for many years. I will take that customer away from the current supplier, so I will enjoy that sale for many years. So it's important that I dedicate time and effort to offer a better product, and better means adding value. Another thing that will make a difference is opening channels to listen. So service, ask for feedback, the existing customers to tell me what I am doing wrong, because somebody could be attracting them to other places. So I need to know what I need to correct in my business in order to keep. So customer retaining and customer gaining are the two things we need in tough times. And listening to the customer and making what the customer recommends, following their recommendations, or showing that we are listening, even though we don't do what they say, but we can show that we pay attention and we are interested in improving. That will make a difference. And separate, I need to dedicate time to start projects to reduce my cost per unit, not only reduce the expenses in rent and so on, is how can I make my product cheaper? Because I can attract my customer by price. Remember, product, price, and performance. Those are the 3 Ps that will help me gain new businesses. Now is the time to think on incentives for loyalty, because I need my clients not to go away. There is an example that is in this moment has a lot of impact. The big company Macy's announced recently that they are closing during these months and the coming year, they are closing many stores. So that means reduced volume. So why somebody will reduce the stores? Well, because maybe their expenses are big, whatever, they have their reasons to do that. But at the same time, they launched a very big program of loyalty. They don't want the remaining customers to go away. They want the remaining customers to come more frequently. So this program didn't exist before. It's only they are doing this at the same time. So we need to think during tough times what we can do in order to keep my customers buying more and not going away. And of course, my client could say, well, I need this product to do this other thing differently. I want to use this for another purpose. So I need to adapt, be flexible, and think, how can I adapt? If it doesn't cost a lot of money, because I will not invest money to do a small change only because the customer wants. Is how I can adapt, be creative in order to satisfy the current need. And there is another possibility, could be a minor one, but some businesses I am consulting through SCORE are looking for new small businesses on the side. So they keep doing what they have been doing for 3-4 years, but now they are creative and starting small branches of other opportunities. So what are these? What they call recession businesses. So businesses that are created in these difficult times. And most of them are online. Why? Because it's a low cost. So some people are now doing freelancing. They start selling advice, they start selling videos in YouTube, they start teaching online. Even though they have another occupation, a job, another business, this is something that they can do on the side or during the weekends. They are starting a new seed, then maybe this will grow enough that in 1 year or 2 can be another good business. Selling beauty products online, food online. There are now some businesses to sell by bulk in order to reduce cost. Mostly in the West Coast of the US, they are now starting to sell food in bulk. And if times are bad, why not start a debt collection agency? I don't need big investment. I can do that by phone. So if I know how to do it. So these are just ideas. And sell used goods. Now, if there is a recession, people are not buying new stuff. So many people are buying used stuff. So it's estimated that by 2025, this industry will be $77 billion per year, selling used stuff. And if we sell that online, I don't need a warehouse, I don't need big facility. Maybe I can start doing that myself, no need to hire people. So these are small businesses. But the idea is that we start this on the side and we get a grasp on it. They can grow enough to be profitable in the future. Another thing that I want to bring to this conversation is that any business owner that wants to be successful is prepared emotionally, because economy is a roller coaster, goes up and goes down. Some people see that good times are coming and they are enjoying good times and think that will be forever, and start spending without measure and start thinking that big investment will always bring bigger profits. We cannot do that without numbers. In order to have control, discipline for the business, we need to do oriented decisions. Decisions based in information, based on data, not based on feeling. And the same way, when things start to go bad, then we think that the bad times will be forever. And that is also bad, because recession will end. Someday will end. So nothing, not good times, not bad times are forever. So we need to know to keep the eye on the trend. I have attended many people that are coming to SCORE and ask for advice because they want to sell their businesses, because they think that tough times are coming, and then they prefer to get rid of it. And some of them are good businesses. But this is emotional reaction. So in order to keep the head cold, it's good to get all the information that is available. Discuss things with friends, with people that are close, with suppliers. Go to networking events, participate in other webinars. So places where we can have discussion and get a flavor of what is best for me, what is best to do, and listen ideas of a team. I know many business owners that have a professional team that they are not employees. So they have friends that are lawyers, they have friends that are accountants, they have friends that are appraisers, bankers, and they meet once every 3 months with one of them, with the other one, to discuss things. Taking a cup of coffee, sharing lunch, just to get the flavor of what is happening. So this is a team, professional team that can help us to have better ideas, better decisions. So takeaways of what we have been talking for all this almost 1 hour. Recessions, like turbulence, are part of life. They will happen and they will go away. It's important to make oriented decisions, not emotional decisions, not based on the gut. We better start preparing a plan now. When we are sitting before the airplane starts, is when we fasten the seatbelt. So Good plans are at the beginning. And what is the goal for those plans? Is how to keep the business alive during the recession period. If I know that the average recession lasts 11 months, well, I need to plan for a year, thinking that the average recession is what will be the impact. And also have an eye open for new business opportunities. And know that if I want to take business away from other person, if I want to compete better, I want to lure clients, I need to focus myself on customer care. Great customer care is the key to gain a client. Showing performance. Again, the 3 Ps, product, price, and performance. If I can demonstrate to them that I deliver good stuff, I have better chances to gain customers away from my competitor. So this is the material I had. And my recommendation in general is look for expert advice. SCORE is a reliable resource and you don't have to do it alone. This could look a lot of things, too many things to do by myself. No, but there is a resource there. If I reach out to SCORE and say, please assign me a mentor, that person will be with you and will meet with you by phone, by Zoom, or in person every 3 weeks, every month, in order to discuss your plans, to help you with the experience. Because in SCORE, we share experience in order to improve your chances. So you can reach a mentor going to our website, www.pascohernando.score.org. So if you have any questions, any comments, this is the moment that we can do in the chat or the Q&A. And if not, I think that we can only invite you for this collection of webinars. We do this every month. We have webinars available. We will not have during December, but we will start again in January. So keep an eye for the bulletins we send with the invitations. So now, since there are no questions, I appreciate your attention. I appreciate that you attended this webinar, and have a good rest of the day. Bye.